everyone, welcome back to my channel for another video. My name is Riaa and I make motherhood and lifestyle videos, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my May and June reading wrap up. I didn't read any books in April, but between the months of May and June, I did manage to read 9 books, and so I just want to share those with you guys. I know that these videos are not some of my most popular for you guys, but if you know me, then you know that I really love reading, and you know how much I love to read. And so I make these videos in part for myself, but also for my fellow book lovers that are out there. So if you are watching this video, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you, and I hope that I give you some awesome book recommendations. So let's get started. So the very first book that I managed to read this month was Love Without Borders: How Bold Faith Opens the Door to Embracing the Unexpected by Angela Braniff. So if you do not know who Angela Braniff is, she is a fellow YouTube mama here on YouTube. She has 2 channels. She has her family channel, which is This Gathered Nest, and then she has her personal channel, Angela Braniff. So I'm going to read the synopsis to you and then kind of tell you my thoughts on this. It says, from the founder of This Gathered Nest YouTube channel, an uplifting story of Angela Braniff's unusual path to becoming a mother to 7 children, which technically is now 8, through various methods of adoption and biological approaches, encouraging women and mothers to embrace the unique purpose that God has put in their lives. Angela's love for her life and her family radiates through everything she does. The Braniff household includes their 2 biological daughters, Kennedy and Shelby, Rosie, who was adopted from China with Down syndrome, Noah, who was adopted from Congo, and Jonah, who was adopted domestically, and finally Ivy and Amelia, who were adopted as embryos and implanted in Angela, who gave birth to them. And she actually just recently adopted her son Benjamin, who I think was also a domestic adoption, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. But they are a fun family of 10. And in Angela's book, she walks you through her life and how she met her husband CR, and just how God has worked in her life and opened all of these amazing doors to her. She's definitely one who marches to the beat of her own drum and is unafraid to go against societal standards. And I really enjoyed this book. I love watching Angela's channel. She really does inspire me to go for it and do the things that I love, and she's just really down to earth. Like, she's awesome. So I really enjoyed reading her book. I love the fact that she was able to share her story with us, seeing how she and her husband met and just how her little family has come along has just been a joy to just read about and watch them on YouTube and stuff. But what I love most about this book is that she also talks about not just like the positive things in life, but how much courage it takes to actually say yes to God and what he offers us in everyday life, and how if we are just open to what he has for us, what his plans are for us, then it can just open so many doors for us. And then what I also like about her story is that she kind of tells you more in depth and gets very candid with us about her struggles with depression and the ups and downs and ins and outs to adoption, both domestically and internationally, and all that goes with it, all the emotions that go with it. She's just been very open, very honest with us about it, and that is one reason why I love her channel and I love this book so much. So I highly recommend it. You should definitely check it out. I will have her book and her channels, both of her channels, linked for you guys in the description box below. I did give this book a 5 out of 5 stars, although in my eyes you really can't rate someone's life, but I think that she did an incredible job writing her story and telling it with such grace and fluidity that it just made it really easy to follow along and walk through life with her. So I really enjoyed it. The next 4 books I read are actually in a series, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas has quickly become one of my favorite authors. She's definitely an auto-buy author, and over the last few years I have loved every single book she's put out. She is just phenomenal, and A Court of Thorns and Roses is probably my favorite series. But I did reread A Court of Thorns and Roses. This was my 3rd time reading it. So A Court of Thorns and Roses is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, as well as a few other folklore tales that I'm not really familiar with. She kind of combines them all, and then she puts her own twist and spin on it, and I just thought that she did a great job. There was so much hype when the series first started, and it has definitely deserved every ounce of hype that it got. It's just one of those really great stories that you just can't help but read, and you don't want to put it down. It's constantly drawing you in and you just always want more. And so I'm gonna read a little bit of the like the synopsis for you guys, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts. She stole a life, now she must pay with her heart. When 19-year-old huntress Feyre kills a wolf in the woods, a beast-like creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows only about from legends, Feyre discovers that her captor is not an animal, but Tamlin, one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled their world. As Feyre dwells on his estate, her feelings for Tamlin transform from icy hostility to fiery passion that burns through every lie and warning she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But an ancient wicked shadow over the fairy lands is growing, and Feyre must find a way to stop it, or doom Tamlin and his world forever. I love that Sarah kind of stuck true to the original storyline of the Beauty and the Beast, but she really did add different elements to it and make it completely her own, and I just love that about her. I have always been one who loves young adult fiction, especially if it has anything to do with like the Fae world and folklore and things like that. That has just always been something that has enticed me. And so her magic system in this series is very unique. The way it's set up is just really cool. Like, it's awesome. I don't know, I just really liked it. She's got all of the fairies that are set up not necessarily by caste, but in courts. So you have the dawn court, the day court, the night court, and then you have summer, spring, winter, and fall. So there's 7 courts total, and Tamlin is from the spring court. So after Feyre kills the wolf, Tamlin takes her away, and of course it's like the Beauty and the Beast where she slowly starts falling for him. But the twist is that Tamlin's world is taken over and kind of under the spell of this evil queen, evil high fae person, and it's up to Feyre to save them and save not only Tamlin's world but her world as well. And the journey that we go on with Feyre throughout the series it's just a beautiful story, honestly. To see Feyre develop and go from this meek but strong human who just feels so unworthy and so less of herself, like she just doesn't feel like she truly belongs where she is, and then just grow over time. I don't know, I just love her story. I think it's beautiful. I think Sarah did an incredible job kind of layering all of the different elements to it. You have the political side, you have the love story, you have love triangles, you have magic, you have the storyline, and it's just amazing. It's just really amazing to see how it progresses, and I really love it. These characters are some of my favorites. I definitely have a ton of A Court of Thorns and Roses like fan fiction stuff. I am in Dawn Court, so you can take a test. It's kind of like the Harry Potter world where you can take a test to see what court you're in, and I am in Dawn Court. I wished I was in Night Court, but I highly recommend this series. If you're looking for a fiction fantasy series, I highly recommend this. It's amazing. I promise you won't be disappointed. I think of the 4 books that are out right now, A Court of Mist and Fury is probably my favorite, and it always will be. There's just no topping that, but I highly recommend you guys reading this. I will say though that even though it is labeled as a young adult fiction novel, it's definitely geared more towards the older side of the fiction, the young adult scale. Just because the romance is really heavy, if you catch my drift. So just fair warning, but the story is beautiful, the characters are amazing, and Sarah's storytelling skills are fantastic. I love it. So definitely check this out. I did give this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and then I think the second one was 5 out of 5 stars, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. And then the third book, A Court of Wings and Ruin, gets like a 3.5, 4 stars, just because I do have some issues with that. But if you read this series and you want to know more, you guys can follow me on Goodreads, and I'll have like my full review on there, because I don't want to give too much away for you guys. And then A Court of Frost and Starlight was like a little frilly, like cute book, so I think I gave it a 4-star rating, but I could be wrong. Again, if you guys want to follow me over on Goodreads and be friends with me, I will have that link for you guys in the description box also. I would love to talk more about books with you guys on there if you want, so be sure to hit me up on there. So these next few books were actually a series. When I first read a few years ago, there were only 3 of them, so it was a trilogy. But over the years, the author has since extended the series, and I think there's 5 total. And that is the Selection by Kira Cass. These books are kind of like a dystopian world meets The Bachelor, and I really enjoyed it. So dystopian novels were kind of the thing when these books first came out. Like, they were really popular. It was a genre of book that was getting really popular, and I really enjoyed it, and I still do. The reason why I've decided to reread these, I think this is my 3rd time rereading this series as well, because these characters are just so cute and fun, and I adore them. So the Selection, for 35 girls, the selection is a chance of a lifetime, the opportunity to escape the life laid out for them since birth, to be swept up in a world of glittering gowns and priceless jewels, to live in a palace and compete for the heart of the gorgeous Prince Maxon. But for America's singer, being selected is a nightmare. It means turning her back on her secret love with Aspen, who is a caste below her, leaving her home to enter a fierce competition for a crown she doesn't want, living in a palace that is constantly threatened by violent rebel attacks. Then America meets Prince Maxon. Gradually, she starts to question all of the plans she's made for herself and realizes that the life she's always dreamed of may not compare to the future she never imagined. So I really like this story. I think the titles of these books kind of give the storyline away, but obviously you have a girl who's in a lower caste, and she's poor, but she falls in love with a boy who is a caste below her, so they're both poor, but they're in love, and so they're intent on getting married. But then the selection happens, and her mother is pushing her to join so that she can better herself, better her life, and help her family as a whole. And because of all the pressures from both her mom and Aspen, she decides to join the selection and gets chosen. And then she meets Prince Maxon, who is so swoon-worthy. I absolutely love him, and I think the novellas really play a huge role in this series as it continues on, because you kind of get more insight on the different characters that don't really have a big point of view in the story itself as they're told. But I really love this story. I think it's just, it's exciting, it's fun. Like I said, if dystopian worlds and stories are your thing, and you haven't checked the series out, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's been out for a few years, and I think it's supposed to be a Netflix show, which I've been waiting for 2 years on. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. It is like a dystopian novel meets The Bachelor, where you have all these girls competing for one guy, and slowly he picks them off one by one, and it's just really exciting. There's a political war going on in the background, and it just kind of plays its part in this whole story, and I really enjoyed it. I have not continued on past The One, which is the 3rd book in the series, just because for me personally, when I first read these books, that was it. Like, it was 3 stories, 3 books, and I was done. And I've not heard very good things about the last 2 books in the series, and I really don't want it to ruin the story that I read originally, so I'm not going to. I don't know if that makes me crazy, but I'm not going to ruin it, so I'm not going to read those books. But I do recommend this series if you're looking for a fun dystopian series to start. So the last book that I read in the month of June was Milk and Honey by Ruby Kaur. I think I'm saying that right. I could be wrong. I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. So it's a collection of poetry about survival and the experience of violence, abuse, love, and femininity. It's split into 4 chapters, each one dealing with a certain topic, and each one composed of different poems and prose. So I will say that this was my very first like collection of poems. I'm really not into poetry reading. I don't read very much of it, and it's been so long since I've read any poems, so I'm definitely not like an expert when it comes to reviewing these types of books. But I absolutely loved it. I thought it was beautiful. Some of these poems really hit home for me and struck a chord with me. I think that what I admire most about Rupi's writing style is that she is so bold in her writing, and she's unafraid to like speak the truth. So I kind of equate this book to like the elephant in the room. Like the one thing that, like, if you were to walk into a room and there's just that feeling that no one says but everyone feels, she's that one person who's unafraid to like speak her mind and talk about the elephant in the room. So that's what this book is for me. It's talking about the elephant in the room, and I just love it. I thought that her writing was absolutely beautiful. Now, not every poem like absolutely floored me and knocked me off my feet and was out of the park, because there was some that I just really I thought they were okay, but then there was those few that I absolutely loved. I absolutely could relate to on a deep emotional level, and I could just feel it. I did listen to this book on audiobook as well as followed along with my Kindle. I did that for most of these books because I did do a lot of traveling over the last couple of months, but I really enjoyed it. I really loved it, and I just think it's a beautiful book. And so I did give this book a 4.5 stars out of 5. Like I said, I'm not really into poetry, but I really enjoyed this book, and I was so glad that I finally picked it up. I can't believe I waited so long, but I'm definitely happy that I read it, and I definitely think that it is a book that everyone could find something to relate to in. So if poetry's not your thing, maybe pick this one up and see if you like it. It might change your mind. So I definitely think that I might seek out more poetry collections from this point on, so we'll see. So that is it that I have for you guys today. I read a total of 9 books. I think my favorite was probably Love Without Borders, just because it was a very enlightening, and it was nice to see a fellow YouTuber's point of view and how her life has turned out. And like I said, I just really enjoy reading about people's lives. So that was definitely my favorite book that I've read over the past couple of months, and you should definitely check it out. I think right now she's doing signed copies, so you'll have to check out her Instagram for more information on that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you stuck with me through to the end, I appreciate it, and I'm so glad that you are here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and please make sure to subscribe before you go if you're not already. If you enjoy seeing videos like this, I have more coming. I make motherhood and lifestyle videos, and if that's something that interests you, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss anything, and so you can stick around and see what's going on in our lives. So that's it for today. Thank you all so much, and you guys have a blessed and beautiful day.